Hey everyone, today we're going to create a multiplayer replicated door that detects you coming through. You won't be able to go through it while it's busy, and you will also, if you notice here, we've got multiplayer replication, so you'll be able to see that in action. Okay, so there we go. I'm just going to create a new blueprint here. So I'm going to switch over to one player and make sure it's on listen server. I'm going to go over the whole entire process here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make it replicated. So we'll show you two different things here. So I've already got one created, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to use some of the assets here by creating a new blueprint. Create a new one. Actor, I'm going to call BP sliding door. It's not a good name for it, but I don't want to duplicate the name, so we'll save that. And then I'm going to open this up, and in here we're going to get the assets in. So I'm using the Cinti Polygon assets here. They're not free, so I'm just going to use these in the tutorial. But if you need to, you could easily just go here, and then you can create a cube and what else would I create? Cube and a cylinder. That should be good enough. You can duplicate, you could just shape those to be like this, and the cylinder here. Where's the cube? So this cylinder. Oh yeah, the cylinder we just squished. But yeah, in the cylinder we can just kind of like, you can shape it to whatever you want just to get that look for you. So essentially we could just create what I'm creating here. Just like that. Okay, so I'm going to use the assets just to make it pretty and all that, but that's what you can do. So I'm going to be using the assets right here. So here we've got the pole, and we've got this other guy here. You could easily model this kind of stuff too, depending on whichever model and kind of game style you're looking for. But yeah, so just for simplicity, I'm going to bring this up here, and I'm going to name this. This is going to be door left, and then this is going to be called post left. Come on. Okay, I'm going to rename that. Okay, post left. Okay, and we're going to nest that in here so that this moves it around. So I'm actually going to duplicate both of these guys and bring them over here. This guy's got to be connected to that. So we'll just undo that again. So we'll take these guys, duplicate, and door left one should be post left one. Then we can move that over here. Door left one actually should be called door right, and post left one should be called post right. Okay. I'm actually going to change the scaling on just this one side here to -1, so it goes over here, and I'm just going to move that over to there, so that kind of makes a little bit of a door. And then what I'll do is I'll grab all of these guys, and I'm going to center that right in the middle, so it's in the middle of approximately in the middle of this blueprint. So I'm going to compile that and save that, and I'm going to drop it into the scene in a location where we don't get confused. So here we go, sliding door, going to rotate that 90 degrees, and here we go. Look at how beautiful that is. So first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to create a box collision. So this is going to be where the character is going to walk through. Create box collision there, and what I'm going to do is do not change the scale, actually change the box extent. So I'm going to say 150, sorry, 150, no, like 125, there, that looks about right. And then I say I'll let 50 or 75, and we'll bring that so that's only on one side, right about there, so you can't activate it from the other side. And this will be about 50 high, and then we'll get it up to out there. That should be okay. I don't know, depending on how far away you want it to be able to activate. You could actually increase the timeline, make it seem faster, and you could bring this in a little bit closer. And then that would make it look more like they're swinging. You could do some cool animation stuff too, so it looks like it's actually swinging. But I'm going to make this look a little bit more mechanical, so I'll keep it like this. All right, and I'm just going to call this the, collision box. All right, so when we're in there, the first thing we want to do is go into the event graph. I'm going to delete all these things in here. We'll click on the collision box, and then we're going to go into the component begin overlap, because this is where we're going to want to put all the stuff. So you could do a couple things. What you can do is we can just throw the code directly in there, and we could do a branch, and we can start doing the code there. But if you wanted to, say you have you only want a certain type of character in there, or you only want a player, or there's certain things like maybe because what this is doing is it's detecting any actor. So if you have projectiles or grenades or anything like that, those things entering this actually will trigger it as well. So what we can do is either we can play around with the collision so it doesn't detect any of those things, but or we can set it up so that it does a quick check here to see. So we can do a cast to. So I'm going to cast to I'm using the CBP sandbox character from the game animation sample pack. So this is the kind of the parent of my stuff. So I'm going to plug that into the other actor. So I'm pretty much going to I'm going to cast to this, and then I'm going to check to see if it's valid. And if it is valid, then we'll continue on. If it is not, we're not going to do anything. So we'll keep the it is valid there. So I'm going to create a branch here, because what I want to do is I want to do another check here to see if the door is actually busy. So if somebody's actually engaged it, it's got some time to do stuff. We don't want that to be interrupted and kind of the animation clip and stop and start over again. So what we're going to do is we're just going to create a variable called door busy, and we'll put that in there, and we'll get that, and we'll plug it into here. So we're checking to see if it's busy. If it's not, we're not going to do anything. I'm actually going to plug in a print string here, just to say door busy. Door is busy. Oops, that is not busy. Busy. Okay. And then if it is false, and meaning it is not busy, then we can continue to do the rest of it. So the rest of it is I'm just going to create a new custom event here, because we're going to replicate it later. But I'm just going to call it open door. We're going to rename it later. I just want to show you guys the replication part afterwards. So I'm just going to plug this into open door, and that will continue on and do that code. So open door is going to be our code that we're going to put in here, and then we're going to do, first thing we're going to do here is we're going to set the door to busy, because we want to make it so that something is busy. I'm going to compile here. So if it's starting to run, we're going to set the door busy to true, and then we're going to run our code. So while it's running the code, it is set to busy, so that if someone else, or if your character exits and comes back in, it checks and says yes, it is busy, and then returns the print string. If you are once this code is all completed, we'll put a door busy not, like an false, and then that will allow it to open up again. So that's just a cool way to make sure, do some checks here. So first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to do a timeline. So we're going to create a new timeline here, and this is going to be what allows it to open and close. So I'm actually going to call this activate door. So activate door. I don't want to call it open door because it's going to open and close it. Okay, so we're going to go in there. We're going to create two float tracks. One's going to be door 1. And one's going to be called door 2. The reason being is because they both rotate at different angles, so we don't want them to be using the same one. First thing we're going to do is we're going to set the length to like 1 second, because we don't want it to take 5 seconds to do this. And then what we're going to want to do from there is we're going to set 2 timelines. So we're going to hold shift and click twice. So first of all, we want to set the time here to 0. So that's the very beginning of the timeline. And this one we're going to do minus 90. And I'll show you why I'm getting that. So we'll hit F to focus this. We'll do the same thing here. So we're going to do 0 on the timeline here. Oops, that is not what I meant. 0 on the timeline here. And plus 90 there. I'll focus that one as well. So you can kind of see how those things are going. So, actually this is not right. That is supposed to be interesting. So this is 0 and 90, and then this one is, oh sorry. This one should be, this should be 0 and 0. This should be 1 and 90, and this should be 0, 0, and this should be 1 and minus 90. I believe that is wrong. Sorry, this is minus 90. This is 90. And I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm just kind of trying to remember what I did last time. So we'll go through it here again. So it should kind of look like that. Yeah, let's just, we'll make 100% sure that that's correct. So going back here, we're going to activate the door. What we want to do is we want to take the door right and door left, right? I'm going to select those two. I'm going to drag them in. And then we're going to want to just do, what is it, door right? Should probably call this door left and door right. That'll probably be better. But for here, what we're going to want to do is we're going to do set relative rotation off of here. So set relative rotation. There. Okay, and then we're going to take that set relative rotation and we're going to base it off of the door 1. Actually, we want to split struct pin there, and we want it to put on the Z axis. And we're just going to copy this guy here. And we're going to paste this, actually plug this guy in here, there, snap that into there, and we should get this door 1, door 2, and then this needs to be on update. Alright, so this should work. Let's test it out. I'm going to test it out switching back to 1 and place standalone because we haven't replicated it yet. I'm going to compile it and save off the camera here. And let's go take a look and see how it performs. So it is going backwards. So I got that wrong. It's not going to reverse. It's not going to finish because we haven't added that stuff into there. But I'm going to go back in here and it should be 0 and this should be 90. And this one should be 0 and minus 90. I think I had it right the first time. But hard to say. So let's just quickly test it. Make sure it's going the right way before we go any further. Alright, so I'll run in here. There we go. Beautiful. So next thing we want to do is have it close. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to add some code in here. So once it's finished, what we want to do is we want to delay. So this delay is going to be the amount of time it takes spends open. So I'm going to put here, I'm going to actually promote that to a variable. I'm going to name the variable delay time. And then I'm going to set that to, we'll compile it, set that to like 5 seconds. I'm going to say 2 seconds just for testing here. But I'm also going to actually make this instance editable by clicking on this little variable, little eye icon. That will allow it to be, if I compile, we'll be able to edit it here in the details. So you'll see delay time, we can set that here. So the default is 2, but we can set it anything after we've placed it in the world. So after the delay, what we want to do is we want to just, this is where we're going to test to see if it's completed. But what I'm going to do really quickly is I'm going to plug the completed directly into reverse. And so what's going to happen is after the delay, it is going to go, it's going to wait 2 seconds, then it's going to close. However, once that's completed, it's going to keep doing it. So let's just see, just make sure that everything's all working good here. All right, so just go here, and it should open, wait 2 seconds, and close. And it is not going to open again because it thinks it's busy. And that's because we haven't put that code in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go door busy. We're going to go here and we're going to set that to not busy anymore. And we'll plug that into there and plug that into there and make it pretty. So what will happen here is when we play, we're going to notice that you'll be able to enter it again after the time ends. So you can see, I like that. Actually, that's probably better than the other one. So I like it. It doesn't let you do it more than one time. So that's good. The only thing that we have now, I believe, is I'm actually going to watch the code here. I just want to make sure that this is doing its thing right. So if I go here, I'm just going to try to get this over here so I can watch the code as it goes. Just make sure it's not repeating too many times. So it goes and this does that thing, it's delaying, it's going through here, it's doing it again. It's continuously going. I know I like the idea, but I don't like the fact that this thing is continuously going. If you can see, it's in a loop and it'll continue forever. That's not good for performance. So I'm going to set a couple things in here too. I'm going to create a new variable and I'm going to call that completed. And I'm going to take that guy and I'm going to set it to completed. And then I'm actually going to check to see if it's completed. I'm going to create a branch. The branch is going to plug into here. And then we'll just take this and say, okay, is it completed? If it is not completed, then we will set it to be completed. Check. And then what we'll do is we'll plug that into there. So here we go. And then we'll just disconnect this guy. So what's going to happen is if it is, everything's all peachy. So what's going to happen is we're going to check to see if the door is busy. If the door is, if it is not busy, then we're going to run our code. We're going to set the door to be busy. Then we're going to play the opening sequence. Once that is completed, we're going to go back here. We're going to wait our delayed time. Then we're going to check to see if this is completed. If it is completed, or if it's not completed, we will set it to completed and then we will run the reverse again. So it'll close it. Then once that's finished, it's going to do its loop again and it's going to wait its few seconds. Then it's going to check to see if it is completed. And then it is going to say, yes, it is completed. So it's going to go to true. Okay. I think this delay is actually on the wrong side. So I would do the check before I did that so we don't have to plug in the delay and wait before we do our check. So let's just go ahead and do that. Plug all that in there. So it'll only do the delay. Actually, no, that's not right. We want to do the check before because if it is false, then we don't want to do that. So I'll just keep it where it's at. That's good. It's fine. Let's make it pretty though. Okay, so when it does the delay check, it's going to do that. And then once this is run once, so if it's not completed, we'll set it as completed, then we'll run the close. Then we'll check again, completed will be completed. Then what we're going to do is we're going to actually change this so that the door is not busy. And then from here, we will do set completed. I believe. Let's just check that. Actually, let's see. No, completed is set already. So what we're going to want to do is door busy, door busy. I think, let me just check and see what I did last time. There's one other code thing that I put in here that I cannot remember what it was. Let's see. Completed. Yeah, completed is unchecked on there. So yeah, we'll just take a completed, set that over there, and check that. That way, actually yes, because now once this is completed, it sets completed to not completed, and then that allows it to happen again. Okay, that makes total sense. Okay, I'm just gonna close this one here. All right, so that looks good. That should run. Let's test it out. This is, keep in mind, this is single player again. So we'll run over here, plug that in there. We'll try to engage it again. It's not going to let us because it says the door is busy, and then it's going to wait, and then it's going to be okay. And we'll let it close. We'll be able to access it from here, but if we go over there, it says it's busy still. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, it's going pretty good. Okay, so that's working perfectly. Now, replication though, not so much. So what we're going to do is we're going to just change this open door to, I'm actually going to disconnect this guy here. I'm going to change open door to MC open door. So it's going to be multicast, and we're going to set that to multicast. Now I don't want to run it directly because we need to go through the server first, because if we don't do it on the server, then you won't be able to tell. So if you run it on the server, then it changes the location on the server, and it also shows it on a multicast. If we skip and just do multicast, then what will happen is you will actually see, you'll see it open, but when you try to run into it, you won't be able to run into, or you'll run into an invisible object because the server will think it's somewhere else. So that's why we're going to create a new custom event, and we're going to call that RPC open door. Open door. Okay, and then we're going to set that to run on server. So what's going to happen is this is going to run on the server. So under false, we'll do RPC open door. This is going to run it on the server, and then it's going to run multicast. So it'll actually kind of do both of them at the same time. And then we're going to see the MC open door. It's going to do all of this stuff. So now this is replicated, mostly. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to switch this to 2 players, and we're going to switch that to listen server. You're going to notice that for 1 player it's going to work, and for 1 player it's not going to work, and I'll kind of show you how. The reason I'm kind of going over network replication a little bit more in depth and doing it piece by piece rather than just going right into it is because a lot of people don't really understand network replication as well. I'm not going to go crazy into a full course here, but I just want to kind of show you guys a little bit of what, if you try something and you miss one step, why that's not working. So let's say with the client, if I run over here, you can see the door opens, all good in the hood. If I go over here, and actually I'm going to switch to this guy and watch over here, and then I switch to this guy, and then I run over here, you notice, actually that's working. Yep. Okay, so I lied. Let me just double check. This should not be working right now. Okay, so everything's all replicated the way it needs to. But let me just check here, because this is BP sliding door. Oh, this is the wrong one. Sorry. That is why. Okay. I knew that it shouldn't have worked. So let's test this again. I purposely put this thing on the right side over here, out of the way, so that we could test it and not get confused. And what did I do? I confused myself. Okay, so if you go over here, you'll see that this guy doesn't see it open. So you'll notice that it's replicating for one guy, but not the other. Why is that? Because we did put all the replication in there. But if you notice here, you'll also see this won't work for me, but it will work for you. Now, because we put all the code in there saying that it was replicated, everything should be okay. But we missed one very important step, and that was to go here and type replicated. Because if you don't replicate this and set that to replicate, it won't replicate no matter what you do. So now what we'll do is we'll test again, and we'll see. We should have some pretty good stuff here. And I'm just going to go over a couple other things here too, just for some of the things here. So if you see here now, this guy replicates, closes the door, all that, and then when I come over here, this guy will run through there, and that will replicate for both of them, and we'll wait, and it will also replicate, and the door will open, and we are having so much fun now. So that looks like that is all done. One thing that I kind of would like to add here as well is that this one specifically, if I just go back to one player, not 41, I'll kill my computer. We'll go in here, and this character has a weapon. So if we have, let me just see this. Oh, okay. So this is not presenting the issue the way I thought it would. Okay. Yeah. One thing I usually do is you check the collisions. So with this particular one, I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to check the collisions. This is something that's actually, this should not be working. I think it's actually hitting it, but it's hard to say because I can't shoot. So let me just take a look. I'm just going to switch back to 2 players, and I'm going to put 1 player on this end. This is only, this is good practice, let's say, because if you do have a, you know, something where there's other things that are coming into it, like, you know, weapons. Weapons is one of the big things here. If I were to stand here and this guy were to pull his weapon out, I'm getting them. Oh, you know what? It's because, okay. See, no, here. It's because my collision box is so low. But the problem is here. I can't shoot him from here. And the reason being is because the collision here on this one, by default for some reason, is a overlap all dynamic. Which I would usually switch to trigger. Then I would go into custom just in case there's some other things here. And projectile, because it's a new trace channel that I added myself. By default, it's block. And so I would like to have that as probably ignore or overlap, depending on what you want to do. But ignore is fine. Actually, what I would probably do is do ignore on all channels except for pawn. And this, again, will give you that option for not throwing a grenade through and activating it and stuff like that. This is what I was talking about earlier. But now if we do take a look here, actually, if with that in mind, we could probably just go and get rid of this check. Just delete this, and then just go ahead and create that so it's not doing an unnecessary cast. I'm going to delete this as well, so that we don't have all of that stuff. I think everything's good here, and we'll compile and save that, and we'll just test it one more time just to make sure I haven't broken anything, because I tend to do that. And just want to keep this tutorial a little shorter. So yeah, everything's all good in the hood over here. Just wait. And yeah, that's it. So you can add sounds to it. You can do whatever you want with it. But that right there is fully replicated, so you can use it in here. This will work on a dedicated server and peer-to-peer, so it won't behave any differently. That's typically what I do in video games, is I do dedicated server stuff, so I know that this will work very well on that. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments, and we'll answer any questions you got. Thank you.